Before we dig in, a quick thank you to the sponsors ready to grow with the Soil Sisters. Fed and Happy is the official nutrient provider for the Soil Sisters projects because we believe in the Fed and Happy philosophy that if the worms won't eat it, neither will we. And Tejas Tonic is the official beverage of the Texas Soil Sisters. We especially love that the hemp for Tejas Tonic is organically farmed in the Texas Hill Country, with farms in both Dripping Springs and Lukenbach, Texas. The Soil Sisters podcast is powered by B&P Electric. Whether you're building, remodeling, installing low-voltage landscape lighting, or in need of an inspection, B&P is your Central Texas electrical contractor. Find links to our sponsors in the podcast show notes or head over to txsoilsisters.co. You're listening to the Soil Sisters podcast, where we dig in on family farming and ranching, regenerative agriculture, healthy living, and planting seeds in our community. We invite you to listen, subscribe, and grow with the Soil Sisters. I'm Joanna Newting, joined by my blood, soul, and soil sister, Crystal. Welcome to the show.
Hi, sister.
Hello, sis. How are you this Wednesday?
I'm loving the weather.
Yeah, giddy from all of this rain.
Yes, so good.
I mean, I can't even believe August to September, like fall just got delivered to us on a silver platter. So I hope it stays.
Oh my gosh, isn't it fantastic? But I got to say, this whole year, I mean, we did have some hot weather, but I mean, are you kidding? It was raining on your birthday, July 28th. Really? When has that ever happened?
Not in my recollection.
Exactly.
Not in my 48 years.
I know.
You know, I like to have a theme for things because that's just my MO.
I love that because it helps keep us focused.
Well, I've been dealing with discomfort. I wrote down like all the things that I'm uncomfortable about. And it's just hilarious because that's adulting, and like LIVIN is when you can get comfortable with discomfort.
Absolutely, because that is life. Discomfort is what moves us forward. I mean, everything is, well, a lot of things are uncomfortable, but however you think about it is where it takes you down the road. And so just get okay with it, really.
Yeah. You know, if it's one thing, like when you started learning to play the ukulele, it's
exactly.
Like one thing in your life that was causing you some discomfort. But we have just rolled ourselves into a situation where I'm doing things I've never done before in work, in my personal life, us getting our farm number this year and taking on becoming stewards of the land. Like there's so many new things on my plate that it's just like I wake up in the morning, it's like from one uncomfortable thing to the next.
And when you get to the point where you're not worried about discomfort, then it turns into excitement. So we'll get there. There's a hump.
Well, and just like when we drive over here to get on the air.
Exactly.
It's like, you know, before when we first started this radio show, it would be about 5 or 6 hours before the show that I would start feeling uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And now it's just when I walk in the door of the studio that nervous anticipation hits me. So that is lessening. I'm getting, you know, more comfortable here.
Man, me too. And it feels so good because I'm like, I'm not trying to waste my whole half a day being uncomfortable. So anyway, just being real sweet to myself and letting it be okay. And now here we are. And you know what? It's funny. How many shows have we done?
I don't know.
Like 4 a month. So however many months that is, 12, 15, something like that. Like, okay, repetition. You just have to keep doing it. The first time is always supremely uncomfortable and nerve wracking. And you've not done it before. So we don't know what the heck we're getting into. And so now it's just like, I just have a little blip when I get here and have to jump up and down a couple of times and heavy breathe a little bit.
Oh, yeah. If they have a video camera out front in the green room, they're going to be like, who are those weirdos? Another thing that is uncomfortable is learning more and more of what's happening just out in the world whenever I'm learning about food or products that we love that are like not good for us anymore. So I'm like, okay, I've been using this product forever and now it's not good for me. Or I'm having to tell my friends, like, my littles can't eat this food anymore, or Happy Meals are no longer a treat. They're poison.
Exactly.
You know, just like that kind of stuff. When we learn about it, the instant gratification of who we are as humans, we're not taking care of our future self.
Yeah.
Our brain doesn't even light up in the same place when we think about our future self as it does when we think about ourselves right now. So it's our nature to just sweep things under the rug and not deal with it
down the road.
And so this trying to form new habits and do things differently, that's super uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. It is. And when if we just recognize and let ourselves remember what we're doing. I've had this conversation multiple times in the past couple of days. And again, today, it's okay to be uncomfortable. And there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. So just sit for a minute, stop thinking, and let yourself relax. But also, what are you thinking? And why are you thinking that? If you think something's going to be hard, why do you think it's hard? And just start questioning yourself. Get real interested about where your thoughts are coming from and who told me that? How did I get that idea? Why do I think that way? Why am I feeling so uncomfortable about this right now when all kinds of other people are fine? They do this all the time. And here I am, a nervous Nelly about whatever. And so just asking ourselves questions about how we feel and how we think about things will really give us a lot of insight into why our lives are the way they are.
And when you start peeling the onion back and asking yourself those questions, and if it is something where we're learning or trying something new or changing a habit, being scared to try something new, especially women, we want to know what we're doing.
Well, and because I think we need to look good while we're doing it because we're women and we're supposed to be pretty or ladies or whatever. So I'm like, I can't look like a fool, although I do often. I don't want to look, I'm scared to do that. I don't want to do that. And anyway, as a 51-year-old woman, I'm constantly letting go more and more of what I'm worried that someone might think of me when I do or say something. And bless us, everyone, because we live in a television society where everybody is on TV all the time.
Yeah. When you were saying that, I was thinking about the first time I went to Zumba with you. I was an athlete. I did do some cheerleading, but for the most part, an athlete.
Yeah.
Wasn't a dancer.
Yeah.
And so finding myself, everybody's stepping to the left and I'm stepping to the right or what. I mean, I looked like an idiot, but it was fine because it's just a small group of women. And I don't know, the small town thing helps me. It just reminds me of being back home in Jayton.
Yes.
When you live in a small town, everybody's family. So I just don't worry about it the way I did when I lived in Oakland or, whatever. And of course, there, everybody's strangers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because that was just your first interaction with that material. And trust me, we all looked like that when we interacted first with that material. And even Noelia will laugh sometimes because she'll do a new song and we'll have a new dance and everyone's all over the place. And she's like, we're all learning together. And it really is. I mean, it's just like we all have to start new things to figure them out. But yeah.
So the other piece that's been kind of uncomfortable that we're dealing with is having conversations with our family about the ranch and what's going to happen next and what we want to do and what's currently happening. And, there's just a lot of discomfort oftentimes when you are dealing with family history or learning things about your family's history that maybe you didn't already know or, reconnecting with the land, hoping to remember what it was so that you can get back there. Yeah. That whole journey it's so important But I mean, it's been really uncomfortable.
Yes. Especially when what you want to do, we're just learning. Because the one who's been doing it for 60 years knows how to do it. And whether that's right or wrong, that's how they know how to do it. And so to let some little kids in here, 51, 48.
Yeah.
Let these little girls in here that don't even know what they're doing. They
don't even know how to drive a tractor.
Seriously.
I mean, I have driven a tractor.
It's been a minute, but
yes.
So that's where also like they're not confident in us. That's why we have to anchor in our own
They're as uncomfortable as we are.
And we have to honor that and appreciate that and love them through that and love our own selves and appreciate that, you know what, you don't want to be super confident if you don't know what you're doing. So I say, way to go, Crystal. You're not confident about something that you don't know about. And that's where I think a lot of things are happening in this world. People just pop off like they're super confident about things they don't know anything about. So I think it's okay. And we're all learning together. And this dance is just getting more and more fun because I'm looking at it more as a dance. It was so hard. And it's like, okay, but it's not. So just relax, just breathe. And that's where this managing my nervous system, like allowing myself, calming myself down, allowing myself emotions, but directing my thoughts, acknowledging what I'm thinking and counseling myself through that. Really, is it true? I mean, seriously, is that what you want? Is that helping you? No? Okay.
Yeah. Do you know the law of diminishing intent?
Yeah.
Jim Rohn, the motivational speaker,
yes,
author.
I heard it, but tell us.
Okay, so the law of diminishing intent states that the longer you delay taking action on your intentions, the weaker your motivation becomes. So the further you get away from your original intention, the less likely you are to take action on it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this. I hadn't heard of this before.
Right.
But something that I've done my whole life is if I want to do something, I would make a declaration to y'all, my family, or, then when social media came around, I would make a declaration on social media because for me, that was holding future Joe accountable for whatever goal she had just set.
Right.
So this law of diminishing intent years and years later, read it and been like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Be uncomfortable is what that says to me. Yeah. Just be uncomfortable, do the thing, take the baby step,
Well, number one, be okay being uncomfortable. I read a book a long time ago called Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. I loved that because life is uncertain until you recognize that it's a game, and then you can really go with the flow and kind of just soften through things. But now it is really like be comfortable with discomfort. Yeah.
Be comfortable with discomfort. And of course you say it, but then, when you're in the moment, it's like, oh my gosh, my skin's crawling. There's knots in my stomach, like all the different things, but it tells you you're moving in the right direction, perhaps. I don't know.
Well, change is here. Something is here because you're not appreciating what you're feeling. So that means that change is coming.
It's funny that you just said that because I remember my friend Ariana in Oakland. She had a surgery. She was an athlete who competed a lot, and she was just really concerned. She was feeling super uncomfortable. And I just said, healing has to feel like something.
Yes.
So maybe these feelings that you're feeling in your knee, maybe that's what healing feels like. And so she has called me multiple times over the years to thank me for saying that because as an athlete, when she's had injuries, she's just like having that perspective of, man, this discomfort is my body healing.
Pain is a symptom of healing. That is absolutely the way it is. All of our feelings are indicators. And if you decide that pain is a symptom of healing, then you begin to heal immediately. And so just allowing yourself to be uncomfortable and to feel the discomfort and to know that this discomfort means that something better is coming. We've gotten to a point where what has been is no longer good enough, and something has to change. And whether that's something that we're doing or the way we're doing something, or, dropping this, adding that, whatever it is, learning new things, it's perfect and it's wonderful. And when you get okay with that, then you're never stuck, because every time you get uncomfortable, you get excited because something good is coming. And what a wonderful life and way to live, because then there's no other shoe. Nothing bad has to happen. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So It's just like, oh, this means I'm growing. And that's just the same thing as when we did that workout with Noelia. I know that probably the next day you were a little sore. Like, you move those muscles, you work out, and your body is sore.
When I got really sore was after Tommy's class. Oh, yeah. She wasn't kidding around.
Oh, no, never.
Torch, is that what that was called? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So but yes, when we talk about that, and as you were speaking, I'm like, I could hear the land talking, because it's the same way, the discomfort of the land when you go out to a place and you see the status of it, and where it's just barren or overtaken, and you're just like, this land is uncomfortable. Yeah. This land needs healing.
Yes.
And this ecosystem, this whole transformation that we've just begun at the ranch with, this very first hemp failure that we had, our first step. Yes. Thank you. It's been, for me, just like, that was the first step. That this is when this uncomfortable transformation begins.
Yeah.
And I think that there's so many families who are trying to figure out, what are we going to do with this land? I had a conversation the other night at Old Pal with some friends who are like, we aren't doing anything with this land. And we want to be good stewards. And so, there are folks, it doesn't matter if you have an acre or 100 acres, being willing to see what's happening and not know what you're doing, but lean into it and figure it out.
One moment, hold that thought, and I'm going to tell you a story. All right. So when we went home, just this recent visit home, we walked from grandmother's house around, and we were looking at plants and bugs and stuff, taking pictures of things. And I was just feeling it, which it was hot. It was hot. It was dry. It is Texas. This is summer. I get it. But the feeling of parched that I had in my body was profound. I don't even know how else to say it. It just felt so parched. And I think about what we're doing here, and I could feel the excitement from that parched feeling, and just thinking about it. And you and I standing out in the grass, looking at the moon, feeling the wind blow, and just knowing, and really praying for Mother Nature to talk to us. Like, tell me what you need. I am here for you. I want this to be good for all of us. And I got the most beautiful picture of what could be in all lands. It doesn't have to feel that parched. It can be dry. It can be hot. It can be Texas, but it doesn't have to feel that desperate. And so doing what we are doing, we are bringing life to a lifeless place. And because the life that is there, in which I want to say, so many birds and animals and beautiful flowers and, stuff all around, but in the places where we're growing the food for our animals, growing wheat, all the stuff, like, there is no life there. And that as we begin to bring life back, it will change how everything feels. And that's what we came here to do, is to listen and to discover what our walk is, like what we're supposed to be doing. And I feel that so strongly. And I'm so excited. I got so excited because when we first came up, I was just like, oh my God, sister, like, I don't like this. But as we went through the couple of days that we were there, and I just started feeling this really, really sweet excitement. And I know that's the land. Being so happy that we're coming for all of it, and not just our place, but for everyone, and not just the land, for the people, for the systems to be different. And the way that we do that is anchor it into our own lives. And that is my intention. And that is what I am doing. And it can't be any other way. And so discomfort, I'm here for it. Fine. Trust me. I've been way more uncomfortable in my life than I am right now. This is nothing. This is a cakewalk. Like, so what?
I'm proud of you, sister. Amen. Yeah. If you don't do that, if not us, then who?
Who? That's exactly what I say.
And the regrets and the what ifs and the, dreams not realized, like that's not going to be me.
No. Or the land.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, well, what would happen to the land if I didn't do this? I'm not willing to take that risk.
Yeah.
I sent a family email today about the ranch house and taking care of grandmother's paintings.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Well, you have no choice. You have to go with me. I kind of built you into the schedule. I'm anxious to get everyone to come out and be together and do some of this so that we can talk about what we want to do and hopefully get more people in our family excited about it and either wanting to participate or just being there with us in spirit and putting out, their good energy towards what we want to do.
And I know they will. All of the cousins, all of our sisters are in support of what we're doing. And so I'm excited. I think it's going to be so powerful and so sweet to be there together.
I know it's been so long for us to all be in grandmother's house together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be good. So out there, this house was built in 1900. All of the paintings that are on the walls in this ranch house, our great grandmother painted them. She was an artist. She was playing the piano and organ by ear as like a 5-year-old, and she would sing, and she was a painter.
She played the fiddle. We never heard that.
Yeah. I'm like...
She did when she was young.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And she had a kiln, and so she would paint beautiful imagery on mostly flower type stuff on ceramics and
the coffee cups in the ranch she painted.
Yeah. So she's just super talented, and there's 2 air conditioning units in the house, and something had happened and they'd gone out. And so the house had been like 80 or 90 degrees. And so anyway, the paintings just need some TLC. This house is like a museum. Yeah. So, our parents can't do that stuff anymore. So we have to do this. We have to take care of it.
I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy to learn how and then to know how. And you know what? That is absolutely what we're doing. I'm so happy that Teresa is going to be there to show us how to do it, because that's all we ever need is a little information and experience. And then we can do anything. And there is plenty of support, and there are plenty of people who are already doing those things that we want to do. For example, our sweet little Tim Ald just got a no-till seed drill, and I am pumped.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
So now we get to help him, or be with him through that process to figure out how to work it, the settings and all, whatever goes along with it. And I feel so good and so excited about the community that we're building around us and that are really coalescing, I would say. Just all of a sudden, it's like people are showing up. So,
and when you get a number of people together that, okay, none of us really know what we're doing in this area, but there's that strength and power in numbers. Like, yes. Okay, well, if there's 4 of us that don't really know what we're doing, we'll figure it out together confidently. If I'm sitting here not knowing what to do, I'll get there. It's just going to take me longer.
Exactly. And you and I just staring at each other, talking about things, while wonderful, it's so helpful to have other ideas and other minds and ways of thinking. And I immediately thought of us coming up with solutions when we planted our failed hemp crop at the ranch. There was 6 of us standing around and we're all just talking, and they're talking about, we need to do this. And then somebody will say, well, what if we tried that? And, oh, that's a great idea. And it just really made me feel so happy about having that community and having this community of people, thoughtful people who are moving in the direction of health and of happiness and of good stuff for all people.
Well, and it's showing up, but then when you get there, even though you're uncomfortable, being willing to speak up.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time, like, this may be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it. Mm-hmm. Just like us being on this NRCS state technical committee for agronomy.
Yeah.
That meeting is next Tuesday. So we had the agronomy subcommittee meeting this Tuesday, and it's the Soil Sisters and a bunch of lobbyists that show up to these meetings. Mm-hmm. It's the corn lobby or the sorghum lobby or the cotton lobby or whatever. Yeah. And yes, these people on this call, yes, they're farmers, but they're representing special interest for a large group of people. We're first-time farmers, but we're on this subcommittee because we need to learn, and we want to be a part of the conversation. And it's super uncomfortable to be an active participant in those meetings, but I'm doing it. I remember yesterday I told Crystal, I'm like, oh, did I sound like an idiot?
No.
Because that's how I feel. But I'm just like, I'm not going to shut up.
Well, you didn't talk too much and you didn't sound like an idiot. So congratulations.
But this is the thing I want to say. There were 6 of us in this meeting. Mm-hmm. We are talking about recommendations for our group to take to the state of Texas meeting so that then the state can make recommendations to the USDA of what Texas farmers and ranchers need and want.
Yes.
So the fact that there are 6 people on this call and 2 of them are sitting in this room right now talking to each other is alarming to me.
Yeah, I know.
So be uncomfortable and show up to these meetings because your voice will absolutely be heard.
Yeah. I hear you, and farmers be farming.
Yes, but this is one, we'd have 2, maybe 3 subcommittee meetings a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're showing up for the region, folks.
Yeah.
We're doing our part. But if you're mad and you want to see change, you have to be willing to show up and participate.
Yeah. Yes. And that meeting, the state technical committee meeting next Tuesday in Temple, anybody can go to that. Anyone who is a farmer, who cares about a farmer, who eats food, like, that is an open meeting. So I appreciate the opportunity that we get. And I think I told you the other day, I am starting to figure this out. I'm not fully ready to jump in yet, but I'm about to be dangerous because I see how much we could help change along just because we are participating. And anybody who wanted to do that can absolutely do that.
Dangerous.
Yes.
And, we're taking the smallest actions that we can take every day to move us closer to our goal on our own family's land, and in the process, mirroring that with other farmers and ranchers and do our part on the state level, it all works together. It's cohesive. It's just like my marketing clients now. I only try to take on clients that are within the regenerative space, so that if I'm doing homework on a product lineup for you, I'm still learning stuff as a new farmer, and I'm coming up with content that I can share on, a radio show and a podcast. It's like everything gets to work together.
Yes. I love that. And I also want to say I'm very excited about our municipal advocacy training that's coming up with FARFA, the Farm and Ranch Freedom Alliance. And you can find out more about them. What is that website, sister? farmandranchfreedom.org. And they're having a training coming up, a 2-part training. And it's talking about how to effectively advocate for our legislative priorities at the local level. And this is talking about the electronic animal ID, on-farm slaughter, and personal exemption reform. So those are the specific things that we're talking about. I know there's a lot of farmers and ranchers in this area, and I know that the ranchers specifically are not trying to put electronic ID in their cattle. So if you want to learn about how to discuss this and what's going on and how to make a difference, or to how to let your voice be heard, check out farmandranchfreedom.org.
They are an excellent organization. And I'm telling you, the executive director, Judith McGeary, she knows her stuff. She's an attorney, activist, and a sustainable farmer. And she is walking the walk. And yes, she's an amazing advocate, a great person to have in the network. And we have to be careful, though, being on this call with her, because she will absolutely put us to work.
I know.
So this might be a call that I sit quietly on.
Yes.
But yes, thank you for reminding me that we have that tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, and that's the best way to make change.
Yes.
Is figure out how to do it. And then you're in your small town where everybody's family.
Yeah. We care about the same things. We really do. So it's fantastic. And I'm excited about that, and what the change that we're going to be able to create thoughtfully, consciously, moving ourselves forward, taking these steps, doing these things, finding people who are already doing that thing that we want to learn how to do, and just walking with them. And we don't have to speak up the first time, go a couple of times, figure out what's going on. And then you will naturally have a question. You will naturally want to engage. So I didn't say anything on the call because I jumped in there late, and I'm just listening. I'm trying to absorb every bit. And one guy was saying stuff that I totally didn't agree with. So of course I wasn't going to say a word. I'm just like, I need to have an answer. Like I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with that. So now I need to go and do my research so that I can have a response. Yes. A thoughtful response.
Be a student, not a follower.
Absolutely. So it was perfect. And I thought you did great. I appreciate you so much, sister. Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you.
Well, I think having the motivation to get started, we're excited, we're doing the thing, but then, you have to create habits around it so that you stay in it.
Yeah.
And, I'm the habit queen.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. They're good for us. We have our, routine meetings on Tuesday afternoon. We have this show, and, I think we need to add a third meeting later in the week to circle back on some of just like the farming projects and stuff that we're working on. I wouldn't even mind setting up a weekly call with our father.
Oh yeah, that would be a great idea. I would love that. Let's do it. And just say, we're going to talk to you at this time every week. I would love that. See, okay, people, here we go. Here's solutions. Because I said to Dion earlier, I need to call Daddy. Why will I not call my father? And now here I just was like, oh, well, when the time is right, I will, period. And now you've suggested a weekly call, and I am 100% on board. I love that, because then it takes the pressure out. He knows we're and which whatever, he stays on the phone with me 3 minutes. It's not a big deal, but I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, I love that. Thank you. And this is how it works. Let yourself off the hook, allow yourself to be uncomfortable about whatever it is, and just set it aside and relax and go on with the life that you're having to live. And then watch for these beautiful little nuggets that come up that are the answer to your question that you put out earlier.
I'm glad I could be of assistance.
Man, I appreciate that.
The other thing about discomfort, I'll tell you right after this underwriting announcement.
Ta-da. What else about discomfort, Joanna?
Oh, this is a good one. So we all think it doesn't feel good. Like, I'm just not ready. I don't feel ready. But the truth is, ready is not a feeling. It is a decision.
Yeah.
We decide that we're ready.
And when you decide and you put your foot down, I am ready. Change is happening. I am done with that. I'm not doing that anymore. Onward and upward, moving forward. When you decide, the whole universe cheers, yes, and follows you and like buoys you and takes you. Like, just make the decision, because that's what somebody's going to tell you. It's too hard. Somebody's going to tell you it takes too long. Somebody's going to tell you that it can't be done because they couldn't do it. Somebody's going to tell you something, and you have to be so strong in yourself and in your knowing of who you are and what you came here for and what you want to do, that it doesn't matter what anybody says. It truly does not matter, because I have already decided.
I am the decider.
That's right. And when I decide. We're done. Like, there's no other discussion. Like, okay, so I didn't do that before, but now I've made a decision and it's all different now. And then just relax. Oh my gosh, because just the making that decision shifts everything, because now the universe is lining up all those things. Like, oh, we didn't know. She's made a decision. And now things that you didn't know were available are going to be available to you, and help and support and connections are going to start showing up, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. And then you're going to think, what else can I decide? What else do I need to make change? What other areas of my life do I want to be better? And then you'll start making more decisions. And then, oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun, because so many things are going to happen. You're going to like, okay, we got to slow this down because my calendar is too full. I need a break. And then you slow down and take a break, and then you decide what you want to do next. And it really is, the world is our oyster. Whatever we want. What do you want?
What do you want?
What do I want? I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to live in a healthy, happy, joyful community. I want to create wonderful and exciting change for myself and my family and the people around me, shifting out of this doom and gloom, fear and trauma loop that we're living in right now in this world. So I am blessing, and I am doing this through my love and my devotion to this planet, to Mother Earth, to the soil that sustains us. And when we do that, everything changes.
Well, and it's exciting too when you're doing that on land that has been in your family for 5 generations. You have the energy and intention of your whole ancestral lineage running through you.
Yes.
And that to me has been the thing that, sure, there will be micro failures.
Of course.
And
I welcome them.
But I won't fail with a capital F, because I know who my family is.
Yeah.
I know where I came from.
Yes.
I know that land.
Yes. And the information available to us and the support of the seen and the non-seen, physical and the non-physical is available. And when you decide to tap into that consciously, mentally, emotionally, physically, however that is, like put your hands in the dirt, stand with your bare feet on the earth and just breathe. Put your hand on a tree. Just allow yourself to get quiet. And that's part of this thing with discomfort. People don't want to be still and they don't want to be quiet. And I'm like, you know what? If all the problems that you think you have, if you would get still and quiet and let yourself calm down, your body come to rest around all that, you would recognize half of them are made up in your head. And the other half, you got solutions to, because it's all around you. I was talking to Dawn the other day and I was saying, man, I've had this at one time and this, these 3 different things, but I never had them all together. And now I'm realizing I've had them the whole time, all of it, all 3 of those things that I thought, oh, at one time I had this, one time I had that. And so all those things, I was like, I would have been too dangerous had I all 3 of those things at one time. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm realizing I have them all right now. So what are we going to do? And it is just like, what do you want? How do you want to feel? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Instead of what do I want to do, how do you want to be? Do.
I thought that in my head.
Be. Like, how do you want to be? I want to be at peace. I want to be in joy. I want to have outrageous health and excitement and fulfillment in my life. And we all have that capability of creating those things, and they're all different. What brings me those things are not the same things that will bring them to you. That's why there's never any struggle. There's no competition in Divine Mind, because we all come from a different place, wanting different things, enjoying different aspects of our world. And so when we know that, then I want you to have what you want. It's not going to interfere with me having what I want.
Yeah.
You think
there's enough.
Yes. So much, and so much abundance around us. And if you don't believe that there's abundance, go look out at the trees and look at all the leaves, and then go look at the grass and look at all the blades of grass and all the leaves on all the plants and all the flowers. Life is abundant constantly. So we just shift ourselves from this lonely, decrepit, like singular, like alone, like that whole energy is old and it's not really true anymore. But we've just been fed these stories for so long. And it's like, you know what? It can all be better and quickly and more easily than we've been told, because the solutions are available. And number one, it's making a decision in your mind, because when you decide something, your whole world changes, no matter, and for whoever else around you, doesn't matter. Like, they have to make their own decision. So it's so exciting.
That was a good little rant.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and setting expectations, can be so disappointing. We expect something to happen a certain way, or we expect a person to be a certain way, and then it doesn't go that way. And then we get to choose to either be let down or to see maybe what is being, reflected back to us.
Absolutely. What's reflected back. What am I supposed to learn from this? And also, what you're supposed to learn is that nobody needs to do anything for you. You need to be happy no matter what anybody else does. And that's a big part of this whole discomfort thing. We live in a society today that says, you're making me uncomfortable.
Right?
I'm like, get over yourself. I've been uncomfortable for a while. So I'm not asking everyone to change their behavior or their, be good people, but just like, I don't like the words that you just said. Like, I'm sorry. You need to, you're human living on earth.
Yeah, I don't
get
care.
over it.
Yeah. That's such a huge part of being okay with discomfort, is being comfortable with not having everybody like you.
Yeah.
Not needing people to like you, not caring what other people think.
Yeah. What a relief.
That can be a full-time job.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it is, until you recognize that the only way that someone couldn't like you is if you had some inner struggle about what you were doing.
Well, and half the time, if someone doesn't like me, I'm like, loved, hated, never ignored.
Yeah.
But that's not my problem. You don't like me. That's
totally fine.
Your decision.
Yeah. You can sit over there and drink that bottle of poison and it's literally not going to hurt me at all. And that's what we do, is being mad at people, wanting them to change, or, and even systems, trying to change systems. You don't change the game from in the game. You transcend the game. You got to feel better about everything. You got to figure out how you are consciously creating your reality and what part you are playing in what is happening in your life. And so allowing yourself to be uncomfortable for a minute and ask yourself some questions about that. And ask yourself questions about, what it is you want in this world and what you're willing to do or unwilling to do. And then do or don't do those things. It's very simple.
Ta-da! Hilarious. Okay, so I have to tell you about a serendipitous interaction I had today.
I love it.
So I had a discovery call set up. It was a mutual connection, wanted me to meet someone. So this man, Derek Collins, he was one of the founders of Charlotte's Web, the cannabis brand. As we're talking, he's like, I think you and my wife would be best friends.
All right.
He's like, do you have a couple of minutes? I'd like you to talk to my wife. So he goes downstairs, puts his wife and me and him on speakerphone. And so her and her sister are creating a plant-based skincare line, and they're located in the Hill Country. And so the business or the skincare line will be True Femme Collective, but she is an herbalist, and she's gotten her holistic education degree so she can, be an advisor, and she's a formulator. And so her and her sister are working on this product line together.
So fun.
And it's based on women's skin along with our cycle. So the different things that we need based on where we are in our cycle. And so anyway, we are going to have them on the podcast.
Love it.
And so I'm excited for us to connect. I'm going to put us all together, but we're going to have two sister duos.
That's fabulous.
And I was telling her about the tallow skincare that you make, and that we had added methylene blue to it.
Yes.
And anyway, I got the methylene blue finally this week in the mail after I did my research on a company and got the COA and felt good about it, because methylene blue, for anybody that doesn't know, it's the parent molecule for hydroxychloroquine. And that's the off-patent drug commonly used to treat not only malaria, but also the flu, COVID, that kind of thing. And until antibiotics came along, it was commonly used to treat urinary tract infections, which it still works for that, by the way, at low doses. So it is been so interesting taking this, because it's like they say start with 10 milligrams, and that's 20 drops in my glass of water. This, I'm absolutely using my spring water because methylene blue, it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So any kind of heavy metals or anything that are in the water, definitely don't want it with that. So taking the spring water, and I put the 20 drops in, and it doesn't taste amazing. I'll say that. But the last couple of days, I've been putting my minerals in my water and then adding the methylene blue, because then I'm like, well, if it's crossing the blood-brain barrier and I've got all of these additional minerals, I'm calling it a good thing.
All right.
But it's fascinating, because it'll be like I can say urine on the air, right? It's just normal, and then it'll be slightly green, and then 4 or 5 hours later it'll be dark green, and then normal again, and then I wake up the next morning and it'll be blue, and I'm just like, what is this? I only take it once a day. I take it in the morning when I get up. So I'm like, how is this working through my body? It is blowing my mind. It's so cool.
I love it.
And the reason I am excited about methylene blue whenever I was living in Oakland, I had my genetics done because I wanted to know if me consuming cannabis was actually good for me, because, if it wasn't, I was going to stop doing it because I'm that disciplined. And
I wouldn't have done that.
Well, I know most people wouldn't. And so I did a full panel, and I learned that I had all of the genes for inflammation, and I had 2 of the 3 genes for dementia and Alzheimer's. So for me, that really kicked me in the behind to make sure I'm getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night, and making sure I was eating a whole foods diet and cutting out stuff that was food-like substances and whatnot. And so this methylene blue, besides totally inactivating HIV-1, hepatitis A and C, and the Ebola and Zika viruses, methylene blue is scientifically proven to be neuroprotective and help restore/reset brain function in people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, bipolar, depression, and more.
Nice.
So if that is remotely close to touching anybody that you know in your family that may be suffering from those things, I would highly encourage you to look online and do your homework on methylene blue. It is something that, of course, obviously, I wanted to see a COA before I picked the certificate of analysis, before I picked a company to try it with. But man, I mean, if these are just those little baby steps that you can take.
High level basics.
Yes. The high level basics. Amen.
Yep.
I'm about the high level basics.
Me too. And those algae pills, I love them.
Yesterday, I was flying high. It was insane. So I took the methylene blue and the algae tablets. I felt super calm in my body, but wired, like ready to go, super alert. Yep. I always take my 15-minute power nap. The last 2 days, it's just been non-sleep, deep rest, like me just laying down and closing my eyes because I can't fall asleep. So anyway, I'm pleased that methylene blue has entered my life. So thanks for bringing that, sis.
Hey, man. I'm so happy to do it. And it's good for your skin. It helps build collagen or something. So it's in my tallow lotion. Ba-bam.
Yeah, stuff is good. So, I look forward to us sitting down and talking to Carrie Collins and her sister about plant-based skincare, the whole concept. If I can't eat it, I'm not putting it on my skin.
Amen.
And she's all about that too.
Yeah.
So that is very exciting stuff.
I love that so much.
I told her that we were talking about fasting, and she was saying that, if you can fast for 72 hours, then you're basically able to do a full body reset.
Sweet.
So we're going to dive into all of that on another episode. But the thing that I was very excited about was there is a specific window of time where fasting is the best and easiest for women. So next week, we'll talk about all that.
Oh, yeah. Cliffhanger.
That's
Love
right.
It. Way to go.
Connect with the Soil Sisters at txsoilsisters.co. Submit questions, guest or show ideas, and sponsorship inquiries. The Soil Sisters podcast was created and produced by Joanna Nuding. Editing and sound design are in the capable hands of the PodConnects Podcast Network.